Welcome to week 3 of the high school football season in West Virginia. We are here in Bridgeport at Wayne Jamison Field for tonight's matchup between the host Bridgeport Indians and the visiting East Fairmont Bees. I'm Brad Heltzel, your radio voice of the Bees, joined in the booth by color commentator Brent Cochran. Our broadcast can be streamed live on YouTube through the East Fairmont Sports Network, and you can also listen to tonight's broadcast on your radio dial at 94.3 WRLF. Bridgeport, the host, enters this matchup at 2-0, an impressive 2-0 at that, as they have defeated their opponents 77-0 in week 1 with a victory over Buchanan Upshur, and a big win last week at Morgantown, 49-0. East Fairmont, meanwhile, comes in off their first win of the season, defeating Grafton at Grafton 34-24 last week. And the Bees also dropped their season opener at home to North Marion 28-21. A reconvene in terms of the meeting between these two schools. They haven't played each other since 2018. Bridgeport won that game 48-0, leads the all-time series here 45-10. They have won the last 13 meetings and 30 of the last 31 matchups between these two programs. So obviously a tough mountain for East Fairmont to climb tonight. Brent, what are your initial thoughts? Obviously a Bridgeport team coming in here. They've had as impressive an opening 2 weeks as you can really have. East Fairmont, meanwhile, 1-1. They finally got their first win last week against Grafton.
Yeah, we'll start with the Bees. Last week, first game of the season against North Marion, we didn't put 4 quarters of football together. And that's something Shane talked about leading into the Grafton game. And then when we got to Grafton last week, we might have had a little stutter there in the third quarter, but overall we played 4 quarters of football. So that's a big improvement from week 1 to week 2 for the Bees. Bridgeport opens up the season, I believe, with a 77-0 win over Buchanan Upshur, and then here at home, and then go to Morgantown and kind of bully the Mohegans. Typically that generally doesn't happen, especially when you go to Pony Lewis Field in Morgantown. Things don't happen that way. Bridgeport right now is number 1 team in the state in AAA. Right now, they're the leading candidate right now, probably to win the state championship. So it should be a good game tonight. Hopefully for the Bees, if we can stay with them, for 3-4 quarters, we'll hopefully come out with a win here.
Yes, the Indians enter this game with very impressive performances on both sides of the ball through 2 weeks. I don't think they've punted yet when they possess the ball offensively and defensively wise. In 2 games combined this season, haven't allowed a single point. Not a field goal, not a touchdown, nothing. And even more impressive, they haven't even allowed 100 yards of total offense this season. Buchanan managed just 4 yards of total offense in week 1. Morgantown last week held to 92 yards of total offense, just 5 first downs. And that Bridgeport defense has also generated 6 takeaways. So across the board, really, the numbers are very impressive through the first 2 weeks for Bridgeport. East Fairmont, meanwhile, as you said, they gained some traction last week against Grafton. Really, the matchup tonight is going to be in the trenches. How can East Fairmont contend with this Bridgeport rushing attack, the single wing, so devastating, so dynamic this year with the athletes that Bridgeport has?
Exactly, and their line's big. They got some guys over 200-300-pound mark. I think the Bees, what they need to do is man the line of scrimmage, control the line of scrimmage, get their blocks, hat on hat, and be able to open up some holes for, Adrian and Rowan and Anthony, to where we can get some plays on them. We know what our secondary can do. We forced some good turnovers last week, so I don't know if the secondary is going to be, what am I looking for, tested a lot with the pass game, but they might be playing up and getting open field tackles.
So the Bees will be kicking off. Bridgeport will receive the opening kickoff. They will be working from right to left on your broadcast screen. And the Bees let this thing deep. Carson Church with a big leg. Bridgeport's going to field it right at the goal line, and this is going to be a touchback for the Indians. So Bridgeport will start their opening drive at the 20-yard line. We expect to see a lot of running today from Bridgeport. That's what they've been known for decades, as they've marched across the state of West Virginia, regardless of the classification they've been in.
Oh, by the way, just let everybody know we're having issues with our camera right now, so you're going to hear audio just for now. But we will get you a video as soon as we can get our camera booted into the system. So bear with us, please. Just some small technical difficulties here in Bridgeport.
So Bridgeport comes out in their patented single wing. No receivers out wide. Everybody bunched in. And there's that misdirection. This play is blown dead quickly. And I don't see a flag on the field anywhere, but the play was blown dead. No signal from the officials. There's a flag on the far side, I believe.
Offsides against the Bees.
So East Fairmont starting with an offsides. We talked to Coach Eckel yesterday about the penalties. Been a big problem through 2 weeks this season.
It has, especially last week against Kraft. I think we had 9 in the first half for like 60 yards. I think we finished the game with 90 total yards. Coach Eckel was talking about the penalties, the self-inflicted penalties. So we can't give Bridgeport free yardage tonight.
So Bridgeport will take the snap from the 25-yard line. That's going to be a handoff going to the left side. And there's already a breakaway for Bridgeport. Bridgeport, he's going to take it. It's a house call on the very first play of the game. Bridgeport's single wing offense. Timothy Jeffries took that off the left end, and he went 75 yards for a house call. Wasn't even touched by the East Fairmont defense. What a start for the Indians here at Wayne Jamison Field.
Yeah, he was able to. They did like a reverse on that and kicked it back over and came up the left side, and there was just a massive hole there. You could drive a semi-truck through, and he took it right to the house untouched.
And that's what Bridgeport does, that misdirection in that single wing. So many options, so much pooling, guys running this way, guys running that way. It's a lot for a defense to be able to take in, and we saw it right there.
Yeah, Bridgeport wasted no time getting in the end zone.
And the 2-point try
is good.
So Bridgeport with an 8-0 lead here. And obviously not the start you wanted to see from East Fairmont. We talked to Coach Eckel yesterday, and he talked about how really when they've watched film on Bridgeport, hadn't seen a lot of sustained drives. They've been so dominant that they've scored in 1, 2, 3 plays. His goal was to make them sustain a 10, 12-play drive, and right there, we see that quick strike attack of the Indians going 75 yards on the opening play from scrimmage.
Yeah, East Fairmont there, the gap assignments are what's going to be the key for this thing. East Fairmont's got to be able to stay at home. It looked like there the linebacker over-pursued and bit on the reverse and opened up a big hole.
So Bridgeport will kick this thing deep. East Fairmont's still not out on the field to receive this one. While we have a moment, let's thank our sponsors who make this broadcast possible here at East Fairmont Sports Network. Thank you to our gold sponsors, Elevate Physical Therapy, Blue and Gold Graphics, the East Fairmont Foundation. Thank you to our Navy sponsors, Viking Contracting, Ebert Veterinary Services, who is the official sponsor for this specific matchup tonight. We also have Rogers Electrical Contracting Company, Soggy Bottom Farm and Nursery, J&J Drywall Incorporation, Rob Johnson of State Farm Insurance, our white sponsor, Mansion Injury Law, and our gray sponsors, Bennett and Dobbins, PLLC, Public Accountants, Alaskis, Pediatric Dentistry of Morgantown, and Fairmont Theaters. So thank you to them, and we have a touchback, I believe, on that kickoff.
No, it went out of bounds. So the kick went out of bounds, so the Bees will get the ball now, I believe, at the 30-yard line.
Thanks for spotting me there, Brent. Yes, East Fairmont will set up with favorable field position here. It's going to be at the 35-yard line of the Bees officially. And we will see the first look at East Fairmont's offense already in an 8-0 hole here.
Yeah, I want to see what our offensive line does here with our guards and our tackles and see if we can make some holes here for Adrian.
So Ron Kramer in the gun, 4 wide receivers, 2 split to each side. Kramer's going to take the snap. He's going to drop back, already feeling pressure from the Bridgeport defense. Kramer is going to scramble out to make a play, but this pass is going to be well incomplete on that opening play. And right there we saw pressure right away, right from the snap from Bridgeport's Carter Zuliani. And we also have a flag down on the field.
Say that name fast 10 times in a row.
I couldn't even say it one time, so I don't think I'm getting it 10 times fast.
All right.
Carter Zuliani.
Personal foul. Blindside block on East Fairmont. So blindside block call was on East Fairmont. So East Fairmont early with 2 penalties for 20 yards.
Yeah, and Coach Eckel mentioned last night on the East Fairmont Coaches Show, the Bees were going to have to play a perfect game against a team of Bridgeport's quality. So far, obviously, we haven't seen that. 2 penalties. Defensively wise, you had that breakdown on the very first play from scrimmage, give up the 75-yard touchdown. So East Fairmont not doing themselves any favors in a matchup that was already going to be a very difficult one, to say the least. Kramer takes a low snap. He's going to run it himself, get some room off the left edge, and he's going to pick up a couple. He's out to the 26-yard line. So we're looking at a 3rd and forever. I'm not sure if they've flipped the down marker yet. Second down. So that personal foul on first down did occur within the play. So it is 2nd and 19 to go for East Fairmont.
The Bees are setting up 2 to the near side receivers. But Bridgeport's up in the...
So East Fairmont stationed on the left hash here. Kramer will take the snap. He's dropping back, looking to throw again. He's got a man over the middle, and it's dropped. He had Cole Van Gelder with a step going across the middle. Hit him in the hands. Van Gelder just couldn't control that one.
Cole makes that grab. We get a nice first down and potentially a touchdown for the Bees there. It could have, because he had a step on that on the corner, so he could have had maybe a first down, if not more.
Yeah, that's coming down to a one-on-one play there, just whether that Bridgeport defensive back is able to make that tackle as soon as Van Gelder catches it. If not, yeah, it's a foot race to the end zone.
Yeah, I think Cole had an extra step on him, so if Cole turns up the Jets there, he's in the house.
So a 3rd and 19, Bees in empty, no one in the backfield alongside Kramer. 5 wideouts spreading out this Bridgeport defense. Kramer faced with pressure again. He's going to step up and take off in the pocket, but he's not going to get close to the sticks. A pretty nice gain of about 12 yards.
Yeah, he got the yardage back and then a little bit, so it's about 4th down and about 7, call it 7. So he got most of the yardage back there. So nice keeper with Rowan. He read the defense. He got an open gap there, but Bridgeport was able to pursue it pretty fast after that.
Yeah, we talked about the offensive line briefly in the pregame, and already we've seen Kramer flushed out of the pocket every time he's dropped back to pass. Here's a punt from the Bees. This is going to be a short punt. Bridgeport steering clear, and East Fairmont will let this one roll inside the 25-yard line. So the Indians will start about where they did on their first drive, around the 22-yard line. We will take a quick 30-second break on your radio dial.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in.
And Bridgeport's going to throw this pass out into the flat. So, and there was a potential block in the back. Yeah, this one's going to be coming back. Bridgeport's going to take this all the way to the house for the second time tonight. But this one is coming back through a screen pass out into the flat. A clear block in the back on that play that was able to spring the Indians loose on that one. So on the receiving end of that pass was Bridgeport's Cameron Martin. But the touchdown will be coming back for the senior as a result of a penalty. So we'll see what the official call is. Probably a blindside block in the back, something of that ilk for the Indians.
We'll take it for sure. I mean, he was wide open. So let's see. We're still waiting on the official call.
Yeah, probably just a dispute over how much yardage this will actually be.
Little block in the back. So that takes away the Bridgeport touchdown. So that helps the Bees there now. So we can regroup now for a second here and figure something out.
So this is going to be a 1st and about 7 situation. The block did occur downfield, so Bridgeport is actually going to snap this thing from the 31-yard line. And Bridgeport stationed on the far right hash. They're going to hand this thing up the middle. There's a big hole. Breaking into the secondary. And this could be another touchdown for the Indians. And it's going to be Jordan Love on the carry for the Indians. And that's going to be another touchdown for Bridgeport. This one, 74 yards. And I'll tell you what, we heard a lot about this Bridgeport team coming in, just how dynamic this offense has been, how quickly they can strike. We've seen it 2 plays now, officially run from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Josh Love just took that ball right up to our defense and took it right to the house. I don't think he got touched there either. If they did, it was by a shoestring at the end zone.
And Bridgeport will remain on the field to go for 2, try to make this a 16-0 game. Now they are running in some new personnel, so it looks like they are going to try the standard point after attempt here with Gavin Williams kicking this for the Indians. And the kick is up, and it is good. So Bridgeport up 14-0 here with 9:29 to play in this opening quarter. 2 plays officially from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. 74 yards from Jordan Love on that one, 75 yards from Jeffress on their first drive. What a start for Bridgeport. We will take a 60-second break and be back momentarily from Wayne Jamison Field.
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business. Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
Bridgeport is going to kick this one deep. Tristan Boone's going to field it at about the 2-yard line for the Bees on the run back. And he's trying to gain some ground, but he's not going to even get this out to the own 20-yard line.
All right, brings up 1st and 10 Bees. By the way, we should be back on video now, so sorry to all of our viewers on EFSN. We got the camera fixed. We are good to go now, so you should be up and running.
And if you are just now joining us on that EFSN broadcast, a heck of a start already for Bridgeport, leading this one 15-0 following 2 1-yard drives, a 74-yard touchdown run by Jordan Love and a 75-yard touchdown run by Timothy Jeffress. Here's East Fairmont on their second series of the game. They'll start at their own 15-yard line. Kramer from the gun, back to pass. He's got time this time. He's going to scramble up the middle, gain some yardage. He's going to pick up a nice gain of about 7. So right there, that's the best pass protection we've seen all night in a very limited sample size so far from East Fairmont.
Absolutely. We were able to hold our blocks. It was a designed quarterback run. He was able to make a move there, did a spin move to get that extra 2 yards. So good heads-up play there by our quarterback. So let's see what East Fairmont does here on second and minimal here.
And really, East Fairmont desperately needing a first down. The last thing you can do right now as you're trying to weather this opening storm by Bridgeport is take a second straight 3-and-out. So Kramer in the gun, no backs behind him. Hayden Biggie is in there as the H-back. He's going in motion. And Kramer's going to take this one as a design run. Kramer's going to get a first down and more as a helmet comes off on the field. So Kramer's going to pick up the first down, the Bees' first of the game. He's out to the 30-yard line.
Good offensive movement there by the Bees. The line looks like number 69, Buda Cruikshank's one that had his helmet come off. So he has to set out one play due to his helmet Number 73, Isaac Mitchell, sophomore, 5 foot, 170 pounds, will replace Buda for at least one play. But back to East Fairmont there. Their line did really good there to open up a hole for Rowan. Rowan was able to find something there, get the Bees first down of the evening.
Yeah, and East Fairmont's going to have to be very selective with their play calling this evening. They line up in a bunch formation here. Murphy on the catch, but he's not going to gain any yards. Actually, if anything, might have lost a yard. Yeah, he did lose a yard. So a completion for Kramer on the stat sheet, but negative yardage for the Bees.
Yeah, that play had nowhere to go. Bridgeport read that right out of the gate. They pursued right on to Gavin, caused him to lose a 1 yard gain.
Yeah, you saw they lined up in the bunch formation, tried to get Murphy going to the short side of the field, maybe clear out that Bridgeport coverage, but nothing doing there for the Bees. So Kramer will be faced with a 2nd and 11 now from the gun. 2 receivers split to each side with, I believe, Fleming to his left in the backfield.
Yes, that is Adrian. Rowan taking his time here, reading the defense, taking that play clock down to 2.
And the handoff is to Fleming, and he's going to get tackled for no gain. Bridgeport all over that one. And it's going to be a 3rd and long for East Fairmont.
This is something Shane had talked about last night, playing behind the sticks. 3rd and 11. We got to do something here to get this momentum back that we had just a few minutes ago. So let's see what Shane draws up here on this drive.
Yeah, and really, Coach Callaway and this offensive staff for East Fairmont in a tough position thus far. I mean, if you can't block this Bridgeport front, it doesn't really matter what play you call. It's just going to be about Rowan Kramer improvising and his receivers downfield getting open as he scrambles to try to buy some time. We'll see how East Fairmont's pass protection holds up. This is a bobbled snap, and Kramer's going to be dumped in the backfield. Not sure who was on that stop for the Indians.
Number 23, Timothy Jeffries.
So Jeffries already, we've seen him make a play offensively with the opening 75-yard touchdown right there, getting Kramer down for the sack after a bad snap for East Fairmont.
Yeah, watching these 2 young men here come off the field for Bridgeport. Number 72, Bear Matheny. He's a senior, 6 foot 275, and walking off with him was number 77, Wesley Brown, sophomore, 6 foot 275. So those guys there.
And that punt was nearly blocked. It might have actually gotten a piece. Bridgeport's going to run up to field it. And there is a flag, so we'll see.
Roughing the kicker?
This is probably going to be either running into the kicker or roughing the kicker.
I think it's roughing because it looked like he hit his foot. So if you hit the foot, it should be a roughing, the penalty call. But we saw it in the NFL Sunday that they just called it a block. So we're going to block into the punter. So there was really a no call there. Personal foul, roughing the kicker. First down, Bees.
So it is going to be a roughing the kicker penalty on Bridgeport. They were very close to getting that punt block cleanly, but they might have actually gotten a fingertip on it, but run into the East Fairmont punter as a result, and the Bees will be gifted a 1st down here to sustain their 2nd drive of the game.
And it looks like it's Carson Church doing the punting tonight for the Bees.
Yeah, so Rowan Kramer, the Bees' usual punter, obviously you want to protect him as much as possible with him being the Bees' quarterback. And Kramer is going to set up. He's got a back to his right. I believe that's Hayden Biggie. Adrian Fleming behind Kramer out of the shotgun. And 2 receivers to his right. Fleming's going to hand this off. That's Anthony Corwin actually on the carry. And he maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
No, they gave him no, he's back to no gain.
So no gain on that play. And East Fairmont will have a 2nd and 10. Bridgeport's defensive line continues to assert themselves up front in this game. We've seen the pressure, and so far, every time the Bees have handed it off, it's gone nowhere. Kramer's had a little success either scrambling or on design runs, but nothing for East Fairmont's running backs tonight.
No, so now East Fairmont's got to figure out if they're going to be able to throw the ball in this Bridgeport defense or not. Because right now the run game's stopped.
And the gun trips to his right, and he's scrambling yet again, trying to buy some time. He's going to, and this ball was nearly intercepted. A little bump in the back there, it looked like, on Cole Van Gilder, no penalty, and that ball was nearly picked off by Bridgeport.
Yeah, I thought there could have been a little pass interference call there. He got there a little early, I thought. But the referee saw it different, so now it brings up 3rd down. and 10 for the Bees.
And there again, we see Bridgeport flushing Kramer from the pocket. Right there, flushed him actually to the short side with the ball on the left hash. Van Gelder really the only receiver over there for East Fairmont. All the other three receivers were flanked out to the right side. And here again, we see trips to the right for East Fairmont. Kramer's going to take this one. He has some time. He floats this out. And again, a dangerous pass there. That ball fluttered out to the far side of the field looking for Tristan Boone. And Bridgeport nearly able to undercut that route and pick it off. And that would have been a house call if they did get their hands on that.
Yeah, Bridgeport was there. The guy was there. He just didn't put enough on it, try to float it out there. If the Bridgeport corner would have read that a little better, he'd have been a pick six.
So East Fairmont again punting this away for the second time now following the roughing penalty on Bridgeport that extended this drive initially.
Church back to punt for the Bees.
And Church is going to give this thing a nice boot. Bridgeport backpedaling. This is going to be fielded at the 25-yard line. Not sure who that is on the run back. Hard to see the numbers.
Number 12. That'd be Alex Moses, senior, 5'11", 180.
Alex Moses, a huge game last week against Morgantown. Rushed for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Mohegans. And he didn't even have 10 carries. I believe he had just 9 carries on the night. So obviously one of many playmakers for this Bridgeport attack.
Bridgeport, they put up Madden-like numbers, video game numbers. I mean, this team here is probably one of the best Bridgeport teams that I've seen in a long time, and I've seen a lot of high school sports and over my years, and this has to be probably one of the most talented Bridgeport teams I've ever seen.
So Bridgeport's going to have this ball at their own 40-yard line to start this drive. And East Fairmont already jumping, so 5 free yards there, as I believe that was Ryder Fellows jumping across for the Bees.
Yep. Got a little anxious. Again, this is for the listeners who just joined us here. We appreciate you guys jumping in and seeing us. Our videos are back up now and running, so we should be good to go here for the rest of the evening. Yeah, we're in little tight quarters here. People who know me, I'm a pretty big guy. We got little Brad in here. We got John, our producer.
Hey, I'm doing my part. I'm saving us space in here. If we had someone else your guys' size, I don't know if we'd make it.
We'd be in for a long evening, wouldn't we, Brad? We got the tripod sitting on a chair, so we're trying to give you guys the best angle of the game that we can. Again, we apologize. The conditions here we have are just a little small.
And Bridgeport looking to pass here, actually. That play not as designed, but they get it out to number 4 for Bridgeport. That is
Donovan Williams.
Donovan Williams on the play. Jack Spadafor throwing the pass for the Indians.
Tackled by Hayden Biggie. Shane did bring up last night in the coaches show that Bridgeport likes to throw on first down. When they do throw it, it's generally on first down. So let's keep an eye on that the rest of the evening, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he said that this Bridgeport team will throw the ball, and he mentioned they have multiple guys who will actually sling it. I mean, so far, Spadafor in the limited times they have passed this season, he's been the main man throwing it, but a number of different guys who you could theoretically see attempt to pass for the Indians tonight.
Absolutely, and Biggie was able to get we actually got a hand on him by Hayden Biggie was able to get a hand on one of these Bridgeport guys for the first time.
And here's a keeper by the Indians, so close to another first down. That's Cameron Martin on the carry for the Indians. He's going to pick up 9 yards.
Yeah.
So Bridgeport with they're going to give him a first down. So 10 yards on that play for Martin. He was right near the sticks, and they are going to move the chains on this one. So Bridgeport now at the East Fairmont 14-yard line with a 1st and 10. And again, setting up in that single wing formation. And this is going to be Jeffries again. And Jeffries is in for the second time tonight on that touchdown. 14 yards out on that one for Bridgeport. So yet another impressive drive from the Indians. So far, 3 series, 3 touchdowns, and really they haven't faced any bit of resistance at all.
They haven't. They've been pretty much able to do whatever they want with the football every time they get their hands on it. So East Fairmont's got to figure out something here fast, or this game is going to be ugly here at the end of the first half.
And we just had the scoreboard shut off here in Wayne Jamison Field. It's now back up and running, but a 14-yard touchdown run by Jeffress. And we mentioned, I mean, it's difficult enough to deal with all the misdirection and all the fakes with this Bridgeport offense, but then as Coach Eckel was saying last night on the East Fairmont Coaches Show, when you throw in the athletes that Bridgeport has this year, and not only just a couple, I mean, they have depth really across the board with all these different ball carriers. It's a show. I mean, just watching this game, it's hard to keep track of where that ball is. You have so much misdirection, so many fakes this way and that. Before you can even locate that thing, Bridgeport's ball carriers are breaking into open grass.
Yeah, they're pretty much in the end zone. They're fast. I mean, this is a very well-skilled Bridgeport football team.
So they are going to kick this one again with Williams back to kick this extra point for the Indians.
And his kick is good.
The kick is good, so that'll make this 22-0 with 3:15 to play here in this opening quarter. We will be back in 60 seconds here on EFSN.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
Or somebody that you know have a business that would benefit by being seen by thousands of people every single week? Want to support East Fairmont Athletics? Then consider sponsoring the East Fairmont Athletics live streams. For more information, contact Athletic Director James Beckman at jbeckman@k12.wv.us.
Welcome back to tonight's broadcast on the East Fairmont Sports Network as well as 94.3 WRLF. Bridgeport leading 22-0. They're going to kick this one deep to the Bees. Gavin Murphy fielding this one. He's ridden out of bounds at about the 15-yard line, so it'll be another long field for Rowan Kramer and this East Fairmont offense.
Yeah, East Fairmont there's going to start, looks like about the 13-yard line or 15-yard line. So Gavin really had nowhere to go there. He was looking for the seam like you saw last week against Grafton, and it just wasn't there. So another bad starting position for the Bees offense here. While we have a quick second, just a couple scores here that I've seen that I've got updates from Metro News. Phillip Arbor 6, North Marion 0. That game's in the first quarter. James Monroe 7, Pikeview 0. A final from last night, Bluefield 42, Greenbrier East 40. So we give you some scores here throughout the evening here as we get them.
So East Fairmont with its third drive of the game. Kramer in an empty set. He's going to keep this one on a design run, and he might get about a yard or two.
Looks like the referee here on our near side is giving us about 2 yards. So we'll call it second 8. Real quick here, Elkin 6, Lewis County 0. Hampshire 7, Moorfield 0. Herbert Hoover 7, Nitro 0 in the first quarter. All these games here in the first quarter. Morgantown South Charleston has been postponed until tomorrow at noon. There's some other postponements throughout the evening too. They got pushed back till tomorrow.
So it'll be a second 8. East Fairmont set up at their own 17-yard line. Kramer again in an empty formation, looking to throw out. Oh my goodness, to the trip side, and he almost threw that right to a Bridgeport linebacker. So Kramer looking toward the trip side, looking for Gavin Murphy settling down there, and that was nearly intercepted by Bridgeport's John Bender, the senior, in coverage there for Bridgeport. And he got his hands on it. It was almost like he wasn't expecting it. I mean, that was a short pass intended for Murphy, and Bender was probably surprised to see the ball really right in his lap.
Yeah, we can see the replay here on our iPad. Yeah, he was like, oh, no, here it is. But it hit him right in the hands. If he would have knew it was coming to him, he would have been a pick six as well.
So East Fairmont with a 3rd and 8 now as they'll try to sustain a drive. Really just 2 first downs so far for the Bees, 1 via penalty. Kramer gets this pass off, but under duress as he was throwing, and that ball is going to fall incomplete. So East Fairmont again coming on to punt, this time from deep in their own end. And again, we saw it right there. Rowan Kramer under pressure. We saw him in the first 2 weeks scramble to buy time, extend plays, but it was really it was really after just to extend the play, give his receivers a chance to get open. So far, it's been 1 second, 2 seconds, and he's had to take off and buy time. This is a short kick, and Bridgeport's going to take over on East Fairmont's half of the field, already leading here 22-0 with 2:06 to play in this opening period. We will take a quick 30-second break and be back as Bridgeport comes back on offense.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in.
And welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field. Bridgeport with a gain of 5 on first down. And that'll set up a 2nd and 5 for the Indians.
John Bender was on the carry again for Bridgeport, I believe. No, I'm sorry. That was Donovan Williams.
So Donovan Williams on the carry already with a 31-yard reception tonight for the Indians. There he gets his first rushing attempt of the game, and they're going to give him 6 yards. So a 2nd and 4 now for Bridgeport at the East Fairmont 36-yard line. And this is going to be kept by Love. And Love's going to have a first down and more as he's out to inside the 25-yard line, down to the 22-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 14 for Love. So Jordan Love, so far with 2 carries for 88 yards. Josh Love, sorry.
Yeah, he's a senior, 5'9", 175. He don't look 175. I'll tell you what, the kid can move. That's a true weight. This kid
Jordan
can move.
Love, I thought I was calling NFL there. I would have gone to Brazil for week 1 of the high school season. That would have been cool to see.
Maybe we can get back to put us on that list to go to next year.
So Bridgeport will set up at the East Fairmont 22. They're going to throw it again. That's Williams on the grab. He's going to give a nice stiff arm to get more yardage, potential. And he's near the end zone. He dives to the pylon. Let's see where they're going to mark him. They're going to mark him out of bounds inside the 5. But what an effort there from Donovan Williams. Caught that ball in the flat and really did the rest himself. Stiff arm, made a last-ditch effort to lunge for the goal line, but marked out of bounds before that.
His foot stepped out about the 4-yard line. I'll tell you what, for not throwing much, I'll tell you what, this Jack Spatafor for Bridgeport, he can really kind of sling the rock. I mean, he's got a nice little arm on him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of it is to set up after the catch. It's a result of misdirection, but his balls have been in places where Bridgeport's receivers are ready to catch it and immediately run. He hasn't made them turn around, pivot, so they haven't been able to catch on the move. And here's Moses off the right edge, and he's going to be in for a touchdown, 4 yards out, touchdown out. Alex Moses on the carry. Or is that Williams?
That was Moses, number 12.
Okay, yeah, number 12 was Moses on the carry there for the Indians.
And he walked in basically untouched. He just walked right onto the end zone.
Yeah, never touched on that toss play to the right side. So Bridgeport with their 4th touchdown of the opening quarter. We'll see if Williams can add the point after attempt here to make this a 29-0 ball game. Williams' kick is up and good. So Bridgeport leading this one 29-0 now with 30 seconds to play in this opening quarter. We'll be back in 60 seconds here on EFSN and 94.3 WRLF.
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business. Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
We are back at Wayne Jameson Field. Bridgeport ready to kick off the ball. Murphy back, lets it bounce into the end zone, so touchback. The Bees will start now at the 20. At the 20-yard line. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there for a minute. The Zulls just kicked in on Brad. So let's see what East Fairmont can do here. We're down 29-0, Brad. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. So it's been a long first quarter for the Bees offense and defense. What do you think East Fairmont tries to do here with this next set of drive here for the Bees offense?
I mean, I would like to say try to set up a screen pass, something that could maybe get this Bridgeport defense over pursuing, give you a little confidence. But I just don't know if we have the collective speed against this Bridgeport defense. I mean, they are flying to the footballs. But you got to do something to open this up. Either throw it short or throw it long. And here's a handoff to Corwin. That's going to be East Fairmont's best game from a running back tonight, as he's going to pick up 6 yards.
Nice run by Anthony Corwin. The line actually got a good hole there for him. Fellows and Larry Nichols were able to open up a nice hole there for Corwin. I'll tell you what, Anthony Corwin's came a long way since week one. He got some limited action at the beginning of the game there, and he picked up in the second half. And then last week he got to be able to touch the rock too last week. So Anthony Corwin's starting to pick up his pace a little bit here, Brad, in the first 2 weeks of the season.
That's going to be the end of the first quarter here from Wayne Jameson Field. Bridgeport leading this one 29-0. We will be back in 90 seconds here on EFSN and 94.3 WRLF.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
And we are back at Wayne Jameson Field, where East Fairmont is on the offensive attack here. Bridgeport leading 29-0 as we open this second period. Bridgeport scored on every series they've had so far. A couple of them coming in just one play, a 75-yard touchdown run from Timothy Jeffress to start the game, a 74-yard touchdown run by Josh Love, 14-yard touchdown by Jeffress again, and then a 4-yard score just recently by number 12, Alex Moses, for the Indians. Kramer back to pass here. He's going to throw this ball and complete it over the middle for a nice gain. That's Anthony Corwin on the catch for the Bees. So Kramer with a nice ball over the middle there to find Corwin.
It's an East Fairmont first down. Nice read by Rowan. Anthony was able to pop out of the backfield, get a nice play there. Good first down for the Bees. So let's keep this momentum going. That's what Shane was talking about last night. Sustaining drives for us, too. So we're not playing from behind the chains now for the first time in an offensive series.
Yeah, and the most impressive thing on that play was probably the pass protection by East Fairmont. Kramer had time to kind of pump fake that allowed Corwin to get open behind the Bridgeport zone, and a nice hook up there. So here's Kramer again. He's going to keep this one himself after pulling it back, and he's going to be tackled for a loss on the far side. Yeah. So a big stop there by the Indians, and we talked about staying ahead of the sticks. East Fairmont not staying ahead of the sticks on this package of plays.
Bridgeport read that Rowan going to the short side of the field. Bridgeport's defense was there waiting for that play.
I believe that was number 21 on the stop for the
Gabe
Indians.
Martin on the stop for the Indians.
So Gabe Martin, the sophomore, with the stop there. Yeah. And East Fairmont will have a 2nd and 13 now from their own 37-yard line. Here's a handoff. And I believe there's a loose ball on the far side of the field. Difficult to see over there. There was a big pile. I think Bridgeport maybe held the runner up to try to strip it. They did get it on the ground, but East Fairmont's going to retain possession here.
Back to 3rd and long for the Bees.
So Adrian Fleming on the carry there. He was fighting for extra yards. That ball got punched out, and then there was a bit of a pile-up. I think that football got kicked around a couple times, but East Fairmont fortunate to fall back on top of that.
Absolutely. We were lucky on that one, Brad, because there's a lot of Indians around that ball.
So a 3rd and 20 now for Kramer in this East Fairmont offense. Back to pass. He's going to throw this one quick, and Bridgeport right on it. Williams hitting East Fairmont's receiver. I believe that was Fleming on the reception. And Donovan Williams for Bridgeport right on that play from the start. I mean, he almost got a hand on that to either break that pass up or pick it off and potentially run it back for 6.
Yeah, Bridgeport again all over that play. 1, 2, 3, 7 Indians around one of our B players. So Bridgeport's got speed all over the field from their offensive line, defensive line, their backers, of course, their secondary as well. But they've got speed everywhere on this team.
And we might see another display of speed here with Alex Moses back for the Indians on this punt. Church is going to boot it away. Another short kick. This is going to be a fair catch, and that's going to be a penalty. Moses called for the fair catch, and the Bees' Cole Van Gelder just went down and tackled him. So that is one way to keep the Indians from getting a possible run back, I guess, if you're East Fairmont.
Yeah. Let's watch this again. I mean, no chance to even catch that.
So kick-catch interference there is going to give Bridgeport very favorable field position as if the Indians need it.
Bridgeport doesn't need any help from us right now. We gotta get back into our game. Penalties like that are not good, knowing what's going to happen there.
Yeah, so the officials talking this one over, probably just about the spot at this point. And Bridgeport's offense will come onto the field already. Plenty of success so far tonight for the Indians. They have a number of ball carriers, receivers who have been in on the action tonight. Love with 2 carries so far for 88 yards. Moses with a 4-yard touchdown run. Jeffress 2 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. Martin with a 10-yard carry. And Donovan Williams with a 6-yard run, as well as 2 catches for 49 yards for the Indians, as Jack Spatafor was on the passing end of both of those attempts through the air for the Indians.
I'm wondering, Brad, if they're going to come out and throw here, if they're just going to keep it on the ground. Let's see what Bridgeport does here.
So Bridgeport will start this drive officially at their own 49-yard line. And coming out in their typical bunch formation. And they're going to drop back to pass, as you mentioned. This is going to be a deep ball downfield, and that's hauled in for a Bridgeport touchdown, maybe right at the goal line. This is going to be marked at the 1-yard line as Bridgeport goes to the air again. Number 23, Jeffress on the receiving end of that pass. Officially going to be a 50-yard completion for the Indians. I believe Spatafor again dropping back to pass that for the Indians.
It was Spatafor, and I'll tell you what, Buda did lay a shot on him.
Yeah, so we talked about Spadafor's accuracy so far, and hit as he threw on that pass had an East Fairmont defender, Buddha Crookshanks, bearing down on him right as he released that, and an on-the-money throw to Jeffress, who made it easier for him by giving him plenty of space. And I believe we're going to have a timeout on the field here, charged to Bridgeport. So Bridgeport will come back from this break, saddled at the East Fairmont 1-yard line, leading this one 29-0. We will be back in 30 seconds here at Wayne Jamison Field.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in the
We are back live from Wayne Jamison Field, where Bridgeport leads this one 29-0 with 8:03 to play in the first half, and on the doorstep of punching in another touchdown at the East Fairmont 1-yard line. This is going to be a carry by number 9. I believe that is Spadafor. That is Jack Spadafor on the carry for a touchdown. So Bridgeport with yet another scoring drive. Spadafor with the big pass connection to Jeffress to account for the bulk of that yardage, a 50-yard completion to Timothy Jeffress, who we've seen in on a number of plays, and then Spadafor caps off that drive with a 1-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, that didn't take Bridgeport long there, Brad, to get back down to the end zone.
Yeah, and you mentioned before that drive got started about Bridgeport's potential to throw the football, and we saw it on the opening play of that drive with the deep strike to Jeffress.
Yes, Bridgeport can strike at all angles of the field. Passing, running the ball, interceptions. Bridgeport is an all-around, you talk about phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams. All three phases for them are pretty stout, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it in full force so far tonight as the Indians now lead this one 36-0 following the point after attempt by Williams. And we will take a quick 30-second break as the Indians prepare to kick this one deep.
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business.
And Bridgeport will kick this one deep as Gavin Murphy will set up to return this one for the Bees.
Go, Gavin.
And East Fairmont will take over with decent field position. They will be on their side of the 20-yard line. So Bridgeport leading this one 36-0. We'll see if East Fairmont can get some traction. But so far it's been a tough night for the Bees offense. No real traction in the ground game. They have gone to the air a few times. Ron Kramer's done the best with what he's had in terms of time in the pocket, but this Bridgeport defense, so much speed and strength and size at so many levels.
Absolutely. They're physical. They're blowing us up on the line. They're getting good penetration. They're coming out of their snaps quick. They just have a knack for the football too, Brad.
So Kramer will be in the gun. He's going to drop back to pass, looking to throw it quick. A lot of traffic there. That pass broken up. Bridgeport had a man underneath in coverage. That was Williams. And also a player on the back end there as well for the Indians to break that up. I believe Spatafor there to break it up as well for Bridgeport.
Yeah, Bridgeport's just, they're reading everything that we're doing. You know, it's unbelievable what they can do with on all sides of the football, Brad.
So Kramer will have a 2nd and 10 from the far hash. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. And this is going to be a handoff on this play to Fleming. A delayed handoff. He's going to pick up a couple. Gain of about 4 on that play to set up a 3rd down.
I'll tell you what, Brad, I can see someone go back to the air again, either to Cole or to Gavin, and see if we can get back to that slant or a pop screen or something, see if we get these guys out in space.
Yeah, they've been mixing it up. They've come out with 3 receiver sets a lot strong to one side. Here we see 3 receivers to Kramer's left, the far side, or the long side of the field, the short side of the field, with 1 receiver. Kramer's going to look to the trip side, looking for Murphy, and that's a big hit on that play to blow up that play, but even before it even got started, Donovan Williams on the stop there for Bridgeport, and he read that one like a book.
Oh, he did. He was there. He saw it coming. I could see the coordinator down here waving his finger in the air that he knew what was coming, and Williams just slid right over and made the nice tackle there.
So East Fairmont with another 3 and out. And this ball will go back to Bridgeport. The Indians leading this one 36-0 with 6:30 and ticking in the opening half. And the punt by Church is going to be another short kick. Bridgeport's going to let this one bounce. And it is going to bounce not to midfield. So Bridgeport will take over in East Fairmont territory to start this drive. We'll be back in 30 seconds here at Wayne Jamison Field with the Indians leading this one 36-0.
Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50.
Welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field. This series delay getting started. We'll have a false start penalty on Bridgeport, so that will push them back into their own side of the 50.
First mistake by the Indians tonight, Brad.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to make the stats look better, because so far, based on any indication, they're not going to have any problem getting this ball all the way to the end zone. But we'll see what adjustments East Fairmont's defense can make here to possibly slow down this attack.
Yeah, Bridgeport, this is really their first time they've played from behind the sticks the whole game, so I'm sure it probably won't be any more than that.
And here's a handoff. Moses actually taking the snap there. And that was, I believe, Spatafor on that carry for the Indians.
It was, and then Camden Bonner was on the tackle for the Bees.
Well, I think that might have been Josh Love, pardon. A 3-yard pickup. That'll get Love to 91 yards on the night.
So he's almost at the century mark.
Just 3 carries so far for Josh Love, and it's been that night for the Indians. A lot of big plays in the run game and in the pass game. This play blown dead again, so Bridgeport with a couple of uncharacteristic penalties on this drive to give this East Fairmont defense some reprieve from what has been a very tough night so far for the Bees. We've talked about it, just the dimensions of this Bridgeport rushing attack You combine that with the athletes they have, the speed, the depth. It's a difficult team to stop, as we've seen through the first 2 weeks of this high school season with what Bridgeport was able to do first at home against Buchanan, scoring 77 points, and then a 49-0 victory last week over a Morgantown program that is always one of the better teams in Quad A. What is the new Quad A in West Virginia? So here's Moses. He's going to take this from his own 44, and he's going to get this out across the 50. Nearly broke that one.
Caden Barr with the shoestring tackle there to keep Moses from taking that one to the house. Because if Caden Barr doesn't make that play, it's a house call for the Indians.
Absolutely. So that's going to be a gain of 24 on that play for Moses to give him 28 yards on the ground tonight, as well as a 4-yard touchdown run. 1st and 10 for the Indians from the near hash. And Moses going to take the snap. He's going to hand that off. I believe that's Love on the carry.
Josh Love getting some a lot of love here on this drive, Brad.
Yeah, and Josh Love obviously going to be a big part of this Bridgeport rushing attack. Their leading returning rusher from last season went over the century mark, accounted for plenty of highlights for the Indians last season with 18 touchdowns. We should note two-way contributions from Josh Love as well, the team's leading returning tackler from last season with 104 tackles in 2023.
Wow.
And now it's going to be, looks like Love taking the snap here and keeping it.
Looks like he's close to the first down.
Yeah, so a gain of 4 on that play for Love will put him over the century mark, 100 yards dead even on the night now for Josh Love, including a 74-yard touchdown run.
So it's 3rd and short now. So Bridgeport, East Fairmont's making Bridgeport work for this first down, Brad.
Yeah, and this is what you want to see. Obviously, 36-0, not the ideal start in any way for East Fairmont, but Coach Eckel talked about making this Bridgeport offense sustain drives, and this is the best we've seen East defense stand up against this attack so far.
Yep.
And there's a big play there, very close to the sticks. I'm not sure if he got that or not. East Fairmont's defense all over that one. Hayden Biggie.
He didn't get it.
There, along with Larry Nichols on the stop for East Fairmont. That's going to bring up a 4th down.
This is the first time Bridgeport's been in 4th down the whole game. I haven't seen them play this year, but I don't know if they've ever had a 4th down on them this season. This might be their first attempt at a 4th down.
Yeah, probably not a 4th downs phase so far, at least in the competitive portion of these games. The Indians will line up to go for it, of course, and they will get it and more. And this is going to be a touchdown right up the middle from Moses, his 2nd of the night. This one from 22 yards out. So a 22-yard touchdown run for Alex Moses, and Bridgeport with 42 points now. The PAT pending from Williams.
Yeah, Bridgeport goes for it on 4th and 1. A nice cutback by Moses, and he found a little bit of a slither there. And as soon as he hits that hole, Brad, they're gone.
Yeah, so Moses accounting for his 2nd touchdown of the night. He's now up to 50 yards rushing in this game. And there's the point after attempt from Williams. It is good. So 43-0 with 2:12 to play in this opening half. We will be back in 60 seconds here on EFSN and 94.3 WRLF.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in the
Contracting, North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business.
Welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field, where Bridgeport has just taken a 43-0 lead on a 22-yard run from Alex Moses. East Fairmont will try to get some points on the board before the half. They do have all 3 timeouts to work with as Kramer in the offense takes the field.
Yeah, I want to see what East Fairmont can do here. We need to get some momentum plays right like we had earlier. I want to see if East Fairmont goes back to the designed runs by Rowan and try to go to the long side of the field instead of the short side. See if we can get Bridgeport to over pursue and we can kick it back over to the other side.
So Kramer in the shotgun. Once again, 2 receivers to each side. He's going to drop back to throw, looking deep, and he's got a man out there. That pass nearly intercepted. Van Gilder pleading for a flag from the officials as there was a lot of contact there. Bridgeport's Sam Goodwin, the senior, on the coverage, and he nearly intercepted that pass. There was some jostling on that play, but a nice play by Goodwin to read that ball in the air.
I don't know,
What you see some extra contact there, Brent?
I saw a little something there, but when you're down 43-0, you're not going to get very many calls, especially on the road.
Yeah, certainly Van Gilder agreed that there was a little too much contact down the field there, looking for the pass interference penalty.
But the way he was positioned, the referee couldn't probably see that, the way his body was turned. But obviously Cole felt something there, and it looked like something was there, but we can only speculate, Brad.
And Fleming gets this carry for a very short gain.
So, again, the Bees are 3rd and long. I've not gained a yard this drive. Eastern making some substitutions here. Some guys coming in late. Play clock's down to 10. Play clock's moving down to 5. Snap was low. Kramer just falls on it. So a loss of about 5. This brings up 4th down and about 15 for the Bees. Number 9, Carson Church coming out to punt.
Yeah, so obviously another failed drive there for the East Fairmont offense. We'll see if they can keep Bridgeport out of the end zone. Bridgeport content to let this clock run. They have 2 timeouts remaining, but not calling one as we tick under a minute to play in this opening half. East Fairmont will surely use the entire play clock before snapping this one with Church at his own end zone. And he's going to punt this thing deep. It looks like Moses is going to get a crack to return this one. He fields it at the 50-yard line, makes a couple of men miss, and he's brought down after a short return of about 6-7 yards.
Chase Hudson.
So Chase Hudson on the stop for the Bees, and Bridgeport will have a final opportunity to add to their lead with 28 seconds to play in this opening half, leading 43-0. Brent, so far, obviously, a very difficult half for East Fairmont, but what has impressed you thus far with Bridgeport? I mean, obviously we knew they were a good team coming in, but seeing it live, what's maybe different than what you expected in terms of the difficulty of defending this team?
Everything. I mean, from their offensive line to their special teams to the running backs, throwing the football, they're all around. They're beyond an A+. If you go an A++, like Ralphie got on his paperback, and Chris
he got a lot of pluses.
So I mean, this team here is legit. This is a legit high school football team that probably could be some small D3 schools. And I'm not just saying. I mean, they're a good football team, and East Fairmont has their hands full, and we knew that coming in. Shane talked about it last night, but I'm impressed with what I'm seeing from Bridgeport because I've been around football all my life. Was a ball boy here at East Fairmont when I was little. Spent a lot of time at this field. Probably the best football team I've seen in a long time up here.
So Bridgeport content to take a knee and let the clock run out. They will go into halftime leading this one 43-0. We will be back in 90 seconds on EFSN and 94.3 WRLF to go over some first half analysis, give you some stats, as well as a scoring summary. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
Or somebody that you know have a business that would benefit by being seen by thousands of people every single week? Want to support East Fairmont Athletics? Then consider sponsoring the East Fairmont Athletics live streams. For more information, contact Athletic Director James Beckman at jbeckman@k12.wv.us.
Welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field, where Bridgeport leads this one at halftime, 43-0. Thank you to Ebert Veterinary Services for being our game sponsor tonight, as well as our other sponsors, our gold sponsors, the East Fairmont Foundation, Blue and Gold Graphics, and Elevate Physical Therapy. Our Navy sponsors, Viking Contracting, Ebert Veterinary Services, Rogers Electrical Contracting Company, Soggy Bottom Farm and Nursery, J&J Drywall Incorporation, and Rob Johnson of State Farm Insurance. Thank you to our white sponsor, Mansion Injury Law, as well as our gray sponsors, Alaskis, Bennett & Dobbins, PLLC, Public Accountants, the Pediatric Dentistry of Morgantown, and Fairmont Theaters. We will bring you the Bridgeport Band here on the East Fairmont Sports Network. If you are tuning in on WRLF, we will be back in 60 seconds here at Wayne Jamison Field. All right, welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field. Bridgeport's band performing at halftime of what has been a game that has been all Indians thus far. Bridgeport leading this 43-0 over East Fairmont at halftime here. And it's been an impressive start for Bridgeport. They scored on the very first play from scrimmage, a 75-yard touchdown run by Timothy Jeffress. 2-point try made it 8-0. On their very next series, again, a 1-yard scoring drive. This time, a 74-yard touchdown run by Josh Love. The PAT made it 15-0 in favor of the Indians. Then Jeffress with his second rushing touchdown of the night with 3:15 to go in the opening period. The PAT by Williams made that 22-0 in favor of Bridgeport. Then just before the end of the first period, Alex Moses getting on the board for the Indians after a big game last week. He gets his first touchdown of the night with a 4-yard run. Point after attempt by Williams made it 29-0 in favor of Bridgeport. In the second period, Indians adding 2 more touchdowns. Jack Spatafor with a 1-yard touchdown run after setting up that scoring play with a 50-yard pass completion to Jeffress. And then to cap the first half scoring for Bridgeport with 2:12 to play in the second period, Moses gets his second rushing touchdown of the game with a 22-yard run. The extra point attempt made it 43-0 Bridgeport in favor over East Fairmont at the half. Some halftime stats for you. It's been all Bridgeport tonight. They've been impressive just as they were in the first 2 weeks of the high school season when they defeated Buchanan Upshur 77-0 in week 1, and then Morgantown 49-0 in week 2. Thus far tonight, where they lead 43-0, they have totaled 355 yards in that opening half, 256 yards rushing, as well as 99 yards through the air. So thank you very much to Blue and Gold Graphics for giving us the opportunity to bring you this halftime show. Blue and Gold Graphics in Morgantown is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs, from shirts to jackets to blankets to hats and more. Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered. Also want to give a shout out to eSolutions, keeping the bees on the air. eSolutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial electrical needs. eSolution proudly supports East Fairmont Athletics. Let's go Bees. We will be back in 90 seconds on your radio dial here on 94.3 WRLF, where we will look at some individual stats thus far from this evening and preview the second half. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in the
Green down
field where we are at halftime here. Tonight's halftime show is sponsored by Blue and Gold Graphics in Morgantown. Blue and Gold Graphics is your one-stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs, from shirts to jackets to blankets to hats and more. Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered. We talked about Bridgeport's dominance in that first half, leading this one 43-0, accumulating 355 total yards of offense. We will look at some individual stats tonight for the Indians. Josh Love leading Bridgeport on the ground. He has 5 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown, that one coming on a 74-yard run with 9:29 to play in the opening period. Timothy Jeffress has 2 carries for 89 yards for Bridgeport, both resulting in touchdowns, including a 75-yard touchdown run on the first play from scrimmage. Jeffress also leads the Indians through the air with 1 reception for 50 yards on the night. We have Alex Moses. He has 3 carries for 50 yards for Bridgeport, including a pair of touchdowns, those coming from 4 and 22 yards out. Also getting in on the action for Bridgeport, Jack Spatafor with a 1-yard touchdown run, and he is also the leading passer for the Indians, 3 of 3 tonight for 99 yards through the air. Cameron Martin with 1 rush for 10 yards, and Donovan Williams with 1 rush for 6 yards for the Indians. Williams also has a pair of receptions tonight for 49 yards. And it's been all Bridgeport tonight. We will look at some local scores here, courtesy of our producer, John Bowman, in the booth. So, John, you want to give us some score updates from around the state in West Virginia?
Yeah, Brent had to raid the concession stand for the 4th, 5th time on the evening, so I'll give you the score updates, even though he's supposed to.
He's getting them Zools, getting some more Zools for the second half.
Yeah. So, University leading Buchanan Upshur at halftime, 42-0. Lewis County leading Elkins at halftime, or actually, just kidding, it's tied 14-14. Just got an update at halftime. RCB trailing Liberty Harrison 6-7 in the second quarter. That's a surprising one there, Bradley.
Yeah, that would be a huge victory for Liberty Harrison, if they're able to knock off the Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. Grafton is trailing Lincoln at halftime, 14-0. Let's see, is there anyone else? I know that Preston and Fairmont Senior are playing. That score is Fairmont Senior 35, Preston 3 in the second quarter. North Marion leading Philip Barber 27-12. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other Big Ten schools in action. Are you? No. So, yeah, competitive ball games around the state for the most part in the Big Ten. Conference play has started here in this third week of action. So, pretty much conference games from here on out for everybody. So, it's going to be important to see who beats who and who can get the most points on the board.
Yeah, looking at a couple other scores from across the state. Cabell Midland leading George Washington in Class Quad A 7-0 in the second quarter of really one of the more competitive games this evening as it stands right now. Huntington leading, Martinsburg leading big. Also in AAA, Spring Mills winning 41-0 over South Hagerstown as part of the National Guard Gridiron Series. Park South with a 7-0 lead over Woodrow Wilson in Class Quad A. In Class AAA, we mentioned some Big Ten scores as well. Capital leading Riverside in a competitive game, 18-14. Hampshire leading Moorfield, 21-6. Weir, an opponent down the line for East Fairmont, trails Indian Creek, Ohio, 13-0. That game is in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's tough when they play those out-of-state teams because you don't really know the competition of Indian Creek and how good that program is because there's no real common opponents. So that's a tough one to gauge. But Brent has returned from his 5th trip from the concession stand, so I'll give him the mic back.
And to continue looking at some scores in the Class AAA Game of the Week, Herbert Hoover leading Nitro 7-0 at halftime, so that game as competitive as advertised. Also in Class AAA, an interesting one for maybe the Bridgeport faithful with Princeton tied with Oak Hill 7-7. Princeton obviously being the opponent that knocked Bridgeport out of the postseason last year in the state semifinal in what was an all-time classic game between those two teams. We mentioned Morgantown's game tonight postponed against South Charleston, and Winfield leading Chapmanville 14-0 as well to cap Class AAA. Other scores from around the state: Midland Trail leading Braxton County 21-0. Roane County right now beating Clay 7-6. That's always a competitive rivalry between those two schools. We mentioned Liberty Harrison currently winning against Byrd in what would be an upset. Lincoln, as John said, beating Grafton right now 14-0 at half.
You want Grafton to win as many games as possible.
And Wheeling Central in a competitive game with Williamstown in what should be the Class AA game of the week. Wheeling Central leading 19-14 at the half there. We will look for any relevant games in Class Single A. Doddridge County rolling over Gilmer County 47-0. That game in the second period. And Petersburg right now beating Pendleton County 25-14. That game at half in the Class Single A game of the week. South Harrison of Class AA leading Ritchie County 41-20 in some local action. And Cameron right now beating St. Mary's 26-8. And we should, obviously for Coach Eckel, give an update on Tucker County. Tucker County leading East Hartard 20-0 at halftime. So that wraps up the relevant scores from across the state. We will be back in 90 seconds here at Wayne Jamison Field on your radio dial. Stay with us.
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business. Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
Or somebody that you know have a business that would benefit by being seen by thousands of people every single week? Want to support East Fairmont Athletics? Then consider sponsoring the East Fairmont Athletics live streams. For more information, contact Athletic Director James Beckman at jbeckman@k12.wv.us.
Welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field here in Bridgeport. Bridgeport leading East Fairmont 43-0 at the half. We went over some halftime stats with you. It's been all Bridgeport, obviously, thus far. Took a look at other games from around the state in West Virginia. And we'll give you what halftime analysis we can here in a 43-0 game. Joined by Brent Cochran in the booth. I'm Brad Heltzel. thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight's EFSN broadcast sponsored by Ebert Veterinary Services. They are the game sponsor. And I also want to thank our additional sponsors that make all of our broadcasts here at EFSN possible. Thank you to our gold sponsors, Elevate Physical Therapy, Blue and Gold Graphics, and the East Fairmont Foundation. Thank you to our Navy sponsors, Viking Contracting, who also sponsors our pregame show here at EFSN, as well as our other Navy sponsors, Ebert Veterinary Services, Rogers Electrical Contracting Company, Soggy Bottom Farm and Nursery, J&J Drywall Incorporation, Rob Johnson of State Farm Insurance, our white sponsor, Mansion Injury Law, and finally our gray sponsors, Alaskis, Bennett and Dobbins, PLLC, Certified Public Accountants, Pediatric Dentistry of Morgantown, and Fairmont Theaters. So, Brent, obviously not the half you wanted to see from East Fairmont. You wondered how competitive of a game this was going to be. And certainly at 43-0, not what the Bees had hoped. It was obviously always going to be a tough battle against this Bridgeport team that has absolutely rolled opponents thus far this season. What stood out to you for better or for worse in that first half, either positives about Bridgeport or not so positives from the Bees tonight?
Well, we'll start with the Bees. Some things I didn't like that I saw from the Bees were we put ourselves in bad situations. We got behind the sticks, false starts, the punt, catch interference, things like that, stuff like that's uncalled for, especially that play there. That was just a bonehead play by us. We can't afford to give Bridgeport free yards. We talked about that last night with Shane. You can't give them free yards. When you start giving them free yards, you're in for an even longer night. On the flip side, we did do a couple things right, but we got away from them. So let's see what the run game can do. Our line blocked a little bit better in the second quarter, but Bridgeport just has so much power up front. I mean, you got guys on the line that are, 300 pounds, 275, 225, 235. These guys they're built, they're fast, they're strong, and they're big all over the field. I mean, they got a lot of seniors on this team, but they've also got a lot of young guys that are seeing some action tonight too, that there are big things coming from them later on down the line. So to me, Bridgeport is a legit football team.
Yeah, so with the score 43-0 at halftime, we will see a running clock to begin this second half. We are still playing, it appears, 12-minute quarters as Bridgeport kicks this opening second half kickoff out of bounds the second time they've done that tonight. So East Fairmont with decent field position to start their opening drive of this second half.
With the running clock now, I want to see what East Fairmont can do. I mean, we got to put some drives together. The second team defense for Bridgeport. So Bridgeport's got a lot of their second teamers in now. So let's see what they can handle up to what their first team gave them, Brad.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we when we were talking with Shane yesterday on the East Fairmont Coaches Show, he obviously talked about what Bridgeport has in terms of speed and athleticism, but he also said this is a team that has good depth. We saw that in the first half, a number of different ball carriers defensively, a lot of guys making plays. So we'll see what this second unit can do for the Indians. And there's a completion by Kramer over the middle to Gavin Murphy for a first down. So a gain of about 13, 14 yards on that hookup between Kramer and Murphy. And obviously, East Fairmont, I mean, they understand what's going on. They can clearly see that it's Bridgeport's second unit out there defensively-wise, but this is still an opportunity to build on something as you look to progress throughout the rest of the season offensively. Absolutely.
Your second string puts the same amount of work as your first team does. They're just going to get these guys maybe some varsity experience. The game, if they don't get to see a lot of action, the game's a lot faster now than what they're used to. So getting them some reps is always important, especially getting into later part of the season. If an injury goes down, Bridgeport can start evaluating what they have. If somebody goes down, they know what they can put in and plug in those positions.
Yeah, certainly. There is a reason that Bridgeport's football program here is a well-oiled machine. It's because they have a lot of games like this every season where these younger guys get a lot of quality second-half reps because of the score discrepancy. And for these guys on the Indian side, valuable playing time tonight. Obviously, you get a chance to see yourself on film instead of the starters all the time. And so far, they've gotten a lot of playing time this season with 2 blowouts prior to this one. So we'll see what they can do. Here's Kramer dropping back to pass. A really nice catch by Murphy as he reached back behind his body, brought in that pass with one hand. An impressive grab there from Gavin Murphy as he's going to pick up another first down, a gain of nearly 20 there for the Bees.
Yeah, nice throw by Kramer, and Gavin's able to make a nice one-handed grab and turn in for an East Fairmont first down.
So certainly the highlight of the night, I'd say, so far for East Fairmont on that completion from Ron Kramer to Gavin Murphy. And East Fairmont in Bridgeport territory now at the Indians' 39-yard line. Kramer back in the gun. He has trips to his left. Murphy now going in motion. And he's going to look for Murphy over the middle. Murphy makes the catch, getting a step on the Bridgeport linebacker. So motioning Murphy, setting him up in the backfield on that play. Clearly looking to get him some touches with his speed and dynamism for this Bees offense.
Yeah, same play they ran earlier on first down. They were able to move him in from motion from right to left. He comes across kind of like a little slant play, was able to get a nice first down.
Yeah, and you see what the Bees are trying to do there. I mean, you get Gavin Murphy, who very quick, very shifty in the middle part of the field, matched up against a Bridgeport linebacker. That's going to be tough for them to contend with, and Kramer able to find him for another quality gain there. And here's a first down play, a run by Adrian Fleming for the Bees. He's going to pick up a couple of yards here.
See if I get a number here on this tackle by Bridgeport. Looks like number 74, Alex McGinnis, sophomore, 5'11", 300-pound sophomore, made the play against Adrian.
Yeah, saddled there in the middle for the Bridgeport defense. He can plug up some gaps at that size. We'll see what comes of his career, and a lot of these guys on the field now for Bridgeport. We may not see them in too much competitive action this season, but certainly next year and beyond, likely to be critical pieces for the Indians program in the future. Here's Kramer throwing it out to Murphy in the flat. He's going to try to do something with this after the catch, and he does. He's going to be near another first down for East Fairmont.
The thing I like what they do with Gavin is if you can get Gavin out in the flats and in space, the kid's so explosive, he can make plays happen. And with being with Bridgeport's second string out there, they're still fast too. They're just not as fast as their first team is, but they're still fast. They're still pursuing the ball as well. So they're trying not to give up their scoring drought here. But East Fairmont making a nice little move here in the third quarter.
Yeah, getting Murphy some touches on this opening drive. That was clearly an emphasis at halftime. Here's East Fairmont again sending a man in motion. The handoff's going to be to Fleming, and I think he's going to have the first down on that third and short. Yes, they are going to give him the first down. So East Fairmont moving the sticks again. A good drive to start this second half, their best of the night. The caveat, of course, coming against Bridgeport's second-string defense. But if you're East Fairmont, anything positive at this point is something that you'll take with the Bees trailing this one 43-0 with now 6 minutes to go in that third quarter with that running clock that we spoke about.
Yeah, East Fairmont's able to put some drives together here. Even though the clock is running, they're still able to move the clock on their own as well. There, Bridgeport was able to read that one. Bridgeport knew that was coming. Adrian was stopped for a minimal gain there, maybe a loss of a yard. Number 25 for Bridgeport, senior Alex Naranicola, 5'11", 160 senior on the tackle for the Indians.
So, Brent, during your playing days, you ever play in any games like this where the score was maybe this lopsided against you? What's kind of the emphasis here if you're East Fairmont?
For East Fairmont, you're still playing for a little bit of pride. You're playing still. It's still a game that you have to play, regardless if you're up 43, down 43, or whatever it may be. You still got to play the game. And I've been part of these things. I've seen a lot of it happen, growing up and then being involved in these games. It does stink, but you got to look. You still got something to build on. This is an opportunity now to see where you're at, measure yourself, and play a team sport. So this is what East Fairmont needs to do right now. Build on the momentum. I don't care if you score on their third, fourth string. You're still trying to play the game the right way, and you got to keep that momentum going. Because if you want to get in the playoffs, you're going to start playing teams like Bridgeports and the Morgantowns and those other schools like that have a lot of talent.
So Kramer with the scramble on second down, now a third down for the Bees. He's going to keep it again. Kramer making some men miss, and it looks like he's going to maybe get in the end zone. Yes, they do signal touchdown. There is a penalty on the field, so we will have to check on that. This one possibly coming back for the Bees, but Kramer across the goal line momentarily, and it looks like this one is going to be on the Bees and coming back.
Again, self-inflicted penalties against the Bees, a hold call against the Bees. These are things that Shane talks about. We've talked about it the last week. We talked about it this week. Those are drive killers. We could add a touchdown there. Now you're back, to third and 15, third and 10.
Yeah, so third and at least 15 here for the Bees following that holding penalty, their fifth infraction of the night. So not as bad as we saw in week 1 and week 2, but we should mention a shortened game here at this point with the running clock. So if you're looking for positives, you could chalk that one up. And here's Kramer looking over the middle, and that pass thrown behind. East Fairmont wanting pass interference. It looked like Bridgeport's defensive backs certainly didn't get their heads around, but because of the ball placement by Kramer, it didn't look like they actually interfered with the East Fairmont receiver before the ball arrived. So you're going to have a 4th and long now for East Fairmont. We'll see what they decide to do, whether they opt to go for this or bring on Carson Church for a field goal attempt.
Oh, my, Brad. I just watched the replay on our iPad. I don't know how you not call that. But we won't get into that tonight. I don't want to get on the refs too much tonight, so we'll just let it go for there. All right, we got a whistle here.
So we'll have a timeout here. We'll be back in 60 seconds on 94.3 WRLF.
Whether you're an on-field or backyard athlete, you know injuries can happen. And when they do, there's Elevate Physical Therapy in Whitehall. We specialize in sports medicine, orthopedics, post-surgical, and other forms of therapy. We help our patients reach their peak of health, wellness, and recovery. Patients are evaluated and treated by only licensed physical therapists. We're right next to Middletown Homes in Whitehall. Visit us at elevateptwv.com or call us at 304-534-8122. Elevate Physical Therapy. We'll get you back in the
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business.
Welcome back to East Fairmont here. Welcome back to Wayne Jamison Field, where East Fairmont has a 4th down here. Kramer's going to throw this ball deep for the end zone, and that pass is going to be out of bounds, so a turnover on downs for the Bees. Their best drive of the night, getting into Bridgeport territory, but we see a holding call back them up into a 3rd and long, and now Bridgeport taking over possession here in this 3rd quarter.
That's where the Bees shot themselves in the foot, Brad. We had a nice drive going. We were able to put one in the end zone, and then we had a holding call. Then there should have been a pass interference call there to get anything there. So now the B defense, let's see what they can do against Bridgeport's 2nd string offense. Look like some numbers out there. Gabe Martin for Bridgeport's out there. Trying to see some numbers here. They're wearing their camo jersey tonight, so it's a little hard to see.
It has been hard to see the numbers tonight, that's for sure.
Number 35, Landon Gilliam, a junior, 5'8", 170 out there too. So let's see what their offense can do here.
And here's a first down run by Bridgeport. They're going to get about 5 yards on that run by number 22, I believe that was.
Yep, Lucas Roaring.
Well, I'm assuming related to last year's Warner Award winner, with Mr. Roaring taking that award home for Bridgeport last season following a very stellar senior season. So we'll see if that's little brother or cousin or something now suiting up for the Indians. And we're nearly done with the third period with that running clock. Bridgeport again leading this one 43-0. If you're just joining us, all of that scoring coming in the first half for the Indians.
So, Brad, what is your take on the running clock now when you get over 35 points? What's your feelings about it?
Well, we can talk about that after the break, after we come back. So quarter's going to run out here in about 8 seconds. So we will hear some messages from our sponsors, and we will be back momentarily from Wayne Jamison Field. Again, Bridgeport leading this one 43-0. We will be back in 90 seconds on
Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
All right, we are back for the fourth and final quarter here at Wayne Jamison Field in Bridgeport. The Indians leading East Fairmont 43-0. Running clock here in the second half. Bridgeport with their reserves in the game. This is going to be an opening run by number 21 for the Indians, Gabe Martin on the carry. So the sophomore with a 20-plus yard run on that opening play to start this fourth quarter. And Brent, before the break, we got into thoughts on the running clock. Personally, I'm in favor of it, but I also have a background as a journalist. So for me, it was always, let me get out of here, write my story before deadline. Never played football myself, certainly not in the past when there was no such thing as a running clock. So I'm in favor of it just for safety reasons. I understand wanting to get these younger kids as many reps as possible. But what is your opinion on this running clock as we see another nice run here by Bridgeport? And this is actually going to get broken, it looks like, for a touchdown on the play.
Gavin Williams.
Number 20, Gavin Williams. So the Indians kicker getting a chance now to be the ball carrier, and he breaks this one for a 53-yard touchdown with 10:43 to go in the final period.
Yeah, Gavin's listed as a kicker, a running back, and a DB. So he gets to play a lot of different positions. But that kid there, I'll tell you what, for being, 5'10", 180, he's got some nice wheels on him. He was able to break some tackles. He found a crease there, cut it back inside, started outside, cut it back in, and next thing you know, he takes it to the house for an Indian touchdown.
Yeah, very nice run there. And
Brown's kick. So new kicker in for the Indians. Number 97 kicker, Jalen Brown, a sophomore, 5'9", 210. He is the younger brother of senior Wesley Brown for the Indians as well. So we got some Brown brothers out here getting a little playing time tonight.
And obviously Wes Brown Jr., one of the more accomplished linemen in the state of West Virginia, former All-Stater. He's been an anchor on that Bridgeport line. I know Coach Ferris talked about him in the preseason and the contributions he makes to the younger guys as well. So while we have a moment here, we'll take a quick 30-second break on your radio dial and be back for Bridgeport's kickoff. We are back here in Bridgeport where the Indians have now put up 50 points. A touchdown there by Gavin Williams, 53-yard run to open the scoring here in this second half as we just got the fourth quarter underway. So Bridgeport now visiting East Fairmont 50-0 following two dominant victories in weeks 1 and 2 of this high school season. Bridgeport defeating Buchanan 77-0 in their season opener, and Morgantown 49-0 last week. Now again 50-0 here against East Fairmont. So Bridgeport's defense still yet to allow any scoring this season, and Bridgeport, their margin of victory will take a bit of a hit if this final score stands, but obviously not much to be discontent with if you're Bridgeport tonight.
No. Right there with that little scuffle there outside there on the sideline, which there was no flag. I apologize for calling that. Bridgeport really hasn't done anything wrong. I think they had one penalty called on them all night. They're playing the game the way it needs to be played, regardless of what the score is. Like I said, they're a very sound football team. But back to our conversation we were starting a little bit ago about the running clock thing. You go back and start watching sports through all the years. It never started till a few years ago. Excuse me, when players started getting hurt, and in games like this, I see why they're doing it. For the safety of these young men, and I applaud them for that. But I still want to see a full football game to play where it needs to be played. But I understand why they do it, and we got to look out for what's best for our kids right now.
So East Fairmont still with their starters on the field. Here's Kramer running back, throwing across his body to Adrian Fleming, and that's going to be a big gain for the Bees. About a 30-yard pickup there for East Fairmont. Kramer starting to roll out to his left, throwing it back across his right, and hitting Fleming in the middle of the field on the run. So a nice play there by Kramer to make something out of that play for the Bees.
That was a nice catch by Adrian, too, catching across his body. A nice play by the Bees. That probably has to be their best play of the night right there.
Yeah, so they are now in Bridgeport territory at the Indians' 47-yard line. Again, Bridgeport dominating this one, leading 50-0 as the running clock continues here in the fourth quarter. We are at 6:40 to play in the game. Kramer dropping back. He's going to look deep. He's got Murphy down there, and this ball is going to be intercepted by Bridgeport at its own 15-yard line. The run back here, and still going, and that is number 22, Lucas Rohrig, on the interception for Bridgeport. So Bridgeport's defense continuing to pitch a shutout on that season as Kramer was looking for Murphy on the deep ball.
He read that all the way. He was able to get his body turned, saw it. It was a nice route ran by Gavin, and the safety there picked it up and picked it off. It was still a ball that, Rowan, I think, hesitated a little bit on. I think he should have popped just a little sooner, lead Gavin to the ball, and that could have been a touchdown for the Bees. So Bridgeport now comes out first down and 10 with 5:42 remaining in the fourth quarter of the running clock. The Bees still have their starters in on defense.
Yeah, so it looks like a couple of second stringers starting to trickle in for the Bees, and here's a run by number 5 for Bridgeport. That is John Bender on the carry there. So he's going to pick up about 35 yards as he takes us inside the East Fairmont 20-yard line.
tell you what, Bender, I think, carried the ball, twice tonight. Prior to that, or the first carry for him. So he's even got some wheels on him. Let's see if I can find him here. He's a senior, 6'1", 205. So for being 6 foot 205, that kid has some pretty good speed as well. And that's something I'm impressed by with Bridgeport. The amount of speed that they have on this football team, from their linemen all the way down to their secondary, is unbelievably fast.
Yeah, a very athletic team that we talked about with Coach Eckel yesterday. This is going to be a short gain for Bridgeport there.
Tackled by number 65 for the Bees, Owen Mayer, a junior, on the stop for the Bees.
Yeah, so we see East Fairmont working in mostly reserves here. We do see a couple starters still in the game, or guys who at least get a fair amount of reps game to game, but East Fairmont going to the majority of their second-string defense as well, with the clock now ticking just under about 4 minutes now. Bridgeport on the doorstep of scoring yet again. The Indians leading 50-0 here at Wayne Jamison Field. And there's a run down to the 2-yard line, but we do have a penalty flag, so this one probably coming back for Bridgeport.
Got to roll while they're calling this real quick. A Big Ten score update. Lewis County 20, Elkins 20. That game was in the fourth quarter. Fairmont Senior 35, Preston 3. Let's go over here to get a double A, scores in double A real quick. Liberty Harrison, Bird still says 7-6. I don't have an update on that game yet. Lincoln 28, Grafton 6. North Marion 27, Philip Barber 12. In the fourth quarter, Williamstown 29, Williams Central 19. So the penalty was assessed to the Indians, pushes them back to about the 35-yard line. We do have a timeout on the field. Timeout called by the Bees. So East Fairmont calls a timeout with 2:52 remaining in the fourth quarter.
So we will be back in 60 seconds here on 94.3 WRLF.
Contracting. North Central West Virginia's general contractor, focused on the areas of additions, finished carpentry, electrical, kitchen and bath, decks, garages, and more, serving Marion and the surrounding counties. To schedule an estimate, call Ron at 304-534-2473. Viking Contracting, a veteran-owned and operated business. Gold Graphics in Morgantown, West Virginia is your one stop for all of your local high school and middle school needs. From shirts and jackets to hats and blankets and so much more, Blue and Gold Graphics has you covered.
So we are back in Bridgeport, where the Indians leading East Fairmont 50-0 with just under 3 minutes to play in this final period. Running clock in effect here, as both teams have now reserve units in the game. Here's a handoff, and Bridgeport will crack the East Fairmont red zone yet again. And so East Fairmont going to be on the receiving end of a lopsided defeat here. That's going to drop their record to 1-2 on the season after defeating Grafton last week. Come back, lose to Bridgeport. Obviously the loss to North Marion in the opener as well. So 2 losses, but 2 losses to programs that were well represented in the state playoffs last year, with North Marion reaching the state championship game, falling to Fairmont Senior, and Bridgeport making it all the way to the state semifinals in last year's Class AAA, which is now mostly the new Quad A. And here's a handoff. Bridgeport is going to take this one in for the touchdown. That's going to push Bridgeport over 50-plus points now.
Roman Lopez.
So Roman Lopez on the carry. That's going to be, well, we have a penalty flag, so we will check on that. Didn't see one initially.
They're going to block in the back against the Indians.
So that penalty will wipe off the touchdown for Bridgeport with 1:20 and counting to play in this game. So as we look ahead, East Fairmont will be back at home next week at East West Stadium, where they will host Braxton County. Brent, what do you expect to see from that one? Obviously, East Fairmont going to be looking to get back on track. You kind of wash this one away, try to forget about it as best you can, and prepare for the Eagles coming into your building next week.
I think East Fairmont, what they need to do is get rested over the weekend, get the nicks and bumps. They go back, watch film, see because any team can be beat on any given night. It doesn't matter if a team's 0-8, 0-9, you're 10-0. We've seen so many teams get upset. So East Fairmont can't take Braxton County light. I know that right now they're getting beat 21-0 is the last update I have from the middle of the trial game against them. But East Fairmont needs to go keep their heads up. We can't look down at ourselves. We just got to learn from our mistakes, clean up the mistakes, clean up the things that put us in bad situations. And there could be good things going on with this football team. Like Gavin said last night, he knows they're a good football team. They know they're a good football team. It's just they got to go out and show it week in and week out. And tonight just wasn't the night for the Bees to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. A tough task tonight for East Fairmont, taking on a vaunted Class AAA opponent in Bridgeport. Bridgeport is going to take this one by a final now of 50-0. So another dominant victory for the Indians here after defeating Buckhannon Upshur 77-0. 49-0 victory over Morgantown last week. Now a 50-0 win. So 176-0 now. Bridgeport has outscored their opponents this season. We will be back momentarily to wrap up from Wayne Jamison Field. We will take a 90-second break, be back for a short recap of tonight's contest.
The Bailey Agency has sponsored East Fairmont Athletics for over 50 years. Just another reason why your neighbors are insured with us.
All right, welcome back from Wayne Jamison Field, where we will go through a quick and short recap here. Bridgeport defeating East Fairmont 50-0 to move to 3-0 on the season. East Fairmont dropping to 1-2. Bridgeport took this one from the opening jump. They scored on the very first play from scrimmage, a 75-yard touchdown run by Timothy Jeffress. Josh Love adding a 74-yard touchdown run moments later with 9:29 to go in the opening period. Jeffress with his second rushing touchdown of the night on a 14-yard touchdown run. Then Alex Moses getting in on the scoring with a 4-yard touchdown run for Bridgeport to make it 29-0 after the first quarter. Jack Spatafor with a 1-yard touchdown run after hooking up for a 50-yard connection through the air to Jeffress to set up his 1-yard touchdown run. Moses then with his second scoring run of the night, a 22-yard run to make it 43-0 at the half. And the lone scoring in the second half came from Gavin Williams on a 53-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. So all Bridgeport tonight as they win this one 50-0 for East Fairmont. They will be back in action next week, taking on Braxton County at home. That will be a 7 p.m. kick. We will have that one for you with the East Fairmont Sports Network. Also, be on the lookout for other broadcasts this week from EFSN, including our weekly coaches show sponsored by Elevate Physical Therapy. I'm Brad Heltzel on the call. Brent Cochran joining me in the booth tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.